Shoo! What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So right now I am super stoked because right now I'm about to get started on actually like bleeding the brakes. So just a little disclaimer, me and Trey already got started on trying to bleed this, and I say trying to bleed it because we did have a couple of leaks. So I'm gonna show you guys that right now in a little bit, but basically right now I am just about to get started in fixing those leaks, and then from there, once somebody comes to help me, once I could get some help, we'll go through and bleed the brakes. Right now, as the car is sitting, the clutch is already bled. So right now the clutch does work as far as I can test it. Well, it's off the ground, but once it's actually like on the ground with the wheels on, then I can like fully test the clutch and make sure that it is actually working 100%. From here, we were kind of feeling the brake, and the brake was actually, the brake pedal and the hydro was actually getting pressure, so that's already a good sign. But like I said, we did spring some leaks. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started fixing those leaks. Let's get to it. So right now, the clutch is actually all ready to go. So let me get in here. And I mean, this isn't like a 100% test because the real way to test this would be while it's on the ground and while there's actually like a load on the transmission. And I mean, that'll give us a 100%. But just for now, just to see, so turn that on, put it in gear, and then we're gonna press the clutch and crank it. So with the clutch pressed, it shouldn't spin the wheels, and if I let go of the clutch pedal, the wheels should spin. So okay, so nothing. And now I'm gonna let go of the clutch pedal, still in first gear, and if we crank, right there we actually have some movement. So again, if I press the clutch pedal, so yeah, I think that should be good. Let's see. So I'm gonna spin it and I'm gonna let go of the clutch pedal. So yeah, so there we go. So pretty much I think that should be the clutch pedal working. But again, I'll test it 100% once I actually have the car on the ground. But yeah, that should be good. So on every single corner of the car, this fitting right here was leaking. So the one that basically like from the brake hose over to this AN adapter, that was leaking. And in my opinion, I think the main culprit for that was because I had that like BMW brake line mount thing sandwiched in between this. So I think that little bit of space was just enough so that the flare wouldn't seal on there. So I think that was causing an issue. So I already went through and took those off. So basically all that time that I wasted going to the pull and save was all for nothing. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I'll just kind of go through and like zip tie this or something. Or I don't know. Like right now it's kind of solid, but it still has a little jiggle to it. I don't like that. But I'll probably go through with some P-clamps and mount this hard line down. And I think that should hold it pretty sturdy. And if anything, I'll just like zip tie this right here on this bracket, and yeah, we'll just get that mounted solidly. And from there, I did have a leak here, but I did tighten that up, and hopefully it won't be leaking. Let me break into the car real quick. All right. Yeah, that door handle don't work, but I mean, it's just the passenger side, so it don't really matter. And in here, this fitting was leaking here. So honestly, I think I know what the problem is with this one. So I think I'm actually gonna have to rebend another line for this. I'll probably show you guys in a little bit, but what's going on is there's like a little slot at the end of this flare. So I think that little slot, or that little slit at the end, is just letting a little bit of fluid drip out and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have to take care of that. Along with that, I think I did kind of make this line a little bit long, so I think it wasn't fitting up so nicely, so that also could have been causing an issue. So I'm just gonna go through and just like rebend another line right here, and hopefully that fixes whatever leak is going on. So from here, I just need to go through and basically make sure every single corner does not have that BMW brake line retaining clip, and then from there just tighten up every single fitting that was leaking, and then I'm just gonna rebend another line like I just said, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so if you guys can see that, if it's, yes, I think you guys can see that pretty good, but right there on the edge of the flare, you can kind of see where there's like a little groove or like a little divot. So I think that little thing was causing the issue and causing a leak on the fitting there. But before I call for any help, I'm just gonna go through every single corner on the car and take off this little like brake retainer thing, and hopefully that should fix the leaks. Alright, and there it is, all finished. So yeah, it's pretty much the exact same line, not too much has changed, but now I think that should fit a lot better. And then this time it doesn't have that split on the end of the flare, so hopefully now it doesn't leak. So I'm just gonna tighten these up, and we should be good to go from there. All right, guys, so since I don't have anybody here to help me bleed the brakes, I'm gonna have to do a solo bleeding. So I'll kind of show you guys how to do it if you're the only one to bleed the brakes here. So yeah, let's get it. So before starting, you want to make sure that you, honestly, I would recommend even just kind of like overfilling your reservoir as high as you could fill it up, just because the way we're gonna do it, it might waste a little bit more fluid than if you were just bleeding it normally, you know? So yeah, so that's the only thing. We just might waste a little bit more fluid doing it this way. So I did already do this one. I did it earlier. So this side is pretty much bled, but basically what I'm gonna be doing is just using the hose, and then I'm just gonna zip tie it onto the bleeder screw over here. And the trick that I'm gonna use is to actually like submerge the other end in fluid, so that way while it's submerged, basically that's acting as a cap on the other end of the bleeder screw. So with the other end of the hose capped off, what that allows me to do is actually just go and repeatedly pump the brakes, and by having the other end inside the fluid, that'll actually allow me to continue pumping the brakes without having to seal and open the bleeder screw, because the other end is actually submerged, so it's not open to the atmosphere, so it shouldn't be introducing any sort of air bubbles in through the bleeder screw. And earlier when I did it to the other side, basically the way that I tested it out, or the way that I just checked to make sure that it was actually working, I just filmed this bottle down here and just left it filming while I pumped the brakes, and then from there you can see all of the air bubbles coming out of this end. So we're gonna give it a try. Like I said, I think it did work on the other side, but yeah, I'm just gonna give it a try here. I'm gonna leave this filming this bottle just so we can see the air bubbles, and I can just keep doing it until I see that no more air bubbles are coming out. And then from there, I just need to repeat the process over on both front wheels. All right, guys, I got the setup here ready to go. So right here, if you look at the bottom of the bottle, the hose is submerged in the fluid, so that's good. And then up top, I do got the zip tie tying on that bleeder screw. So I'm just gonna go inside and start pumping. So I'll start off with like 5 or 6 pumps, and then from there you want to make sure you check the fluid, because since the bleeder screw is just open, it's just gonna be pushing fluid straight out. And if you guys do this, if you guys feel that the pedal's soft, that's because the bleeder screw is open. It's gonna feel soft. And then over here, after pumping a couple times, you want to make sure you check your level, because right now you can see I already did go down a little bit, and that's just from pumping it like 5 or 6 times. So you want to make sure you keep an eye out on that. And for me, I'm just trying to make sure I stay above this clutch feed line right there. So I'm just gonna go through, pump it a couple more times, check the clip, make sure bubbles are still coming out, and I'm just gonna keep doing that back and forth until I don't see any more bubbles come out, only fluid. So let's do that. All right, guys, and I think that actually worked. So right now, this is all the brake travel I have. As far as I know, the clutch is working correctly. So it's dark already, so I am gonna wait till tomorrow to do some like testing and stuff. But right now I'm gonna go through and just kind of make sure that none of the fittings are leaking. But so far, all of the problem fittings are all good. So I'm just going through and checking all of the lines that were giving me issues before, and just making sure there's no leaks. And so far so good. all looking dry. Love that. So now the wheel well, and in here we're dry. Up here we're dry. So from here, I do need to do a lot of testing and stuff to make sure that it actually is working, because I won't fully know until I actually have this thing down on the ground, on the wheels and stuff. Then I could fully test out the clutch, and then I could fully test out the hydro and the brake system and all that stuff, and hopefully take this thing for a test drive. So I don't know what you guys can see last night. I'm not really sure how it looks. I'm gonna have to kind of see it on the computer later once I'm editing, but that's like the first time I really like tried like filming stuff at night with the light and stuff. I'm just gonna give it a try, put that in the video, and let me know how it looks. But last night I did get all the brake lines all bled, so right now there is brake pressure. So far none of the lines are leaking. I haven't seen any leaks anywhere, no drips, so that's good. And from here, the biggest bummer is I don't have a throttle cable. So I mean, if it weren't for that throttle cable, I would realistically be able to put the wheels on right now and kind of try testing it, maybe drive it around a little bit, give it a little test drive if everything's looking good. But I don't have that throttle cable right now. Basically what happened, I think I explained it already, but what happened is that throttle cable bushing split. It's the bushing that mounts the throttle cable onto the actual throttle body down there. And yeah, that's just a huge bummer, because that's like the only thing that's really keeping me from being able to test drive it. And along with that, I am missing gas too. I do need to fill this thing up. Yeah, so right now I'm just gonna head over to Pull and Save and see if I can find that bushing, because I've already looked around at a couple stores. I already went to a couple parts stores and stuff, and nobody has it. I went to the BMW dealership. They would have to order it in. So I'm just trying to get one as soon as possible. I already have one on the way, but if I could get this thing going right now or today, that would be nice. So, all right, guys. So I just got back from Pull and Save, and I did not have any luck in finding the bushing for this. So this is basically what goes, you know, so you just put that in. It has the little slit so it can go through the cable. Boom. And then this right here has threads on the inside, and this is what threads on, and this is how you adjust the throttle cable. So basically what I'm gonna do now, since I don't have that, I just took this over to Ace. I found out what the thread pitch is, and that's a M8 by 1.25. And then I already got the two nuts, and I'm just gonna go through with the little Dremel tool and cut a little slit out on each of these. That way I could put it right over the cable. Then from there, I have these two washers to put on either side of the little bracket on the throttle body, and that should hold it in place. And then from there, I'm just gonna put the two nuts on both sides of the washers, and that should hold it in place. Hopefully it doesn't ruin the threads on that plastic piece on the throttle cable, but I already have a throttle cable and the bushing on the way anyway, so if I ruin it, it's not a big deal. But yeah, we'll see if this works. All right, and here it is. So far, everything actually looks like it should work 100%. So right here, you can see it's holding that down. I haven't even tightened these, and it's already like holding it really solid. So I can just go through and tighten each of these nuts, and it should hold it really tight against this. And yeah, I already have the throttle cable attached on the other side. So honestly, I think this is one of the easiest ways to fix that annoying BMW throttle cable bushing. So when it snaps, I've been seeing online that that's actually like a really common issue. And at the junkyard, I've found two BMWs that had the throttle cable, but that bushing was torn apart. So there's a lot of companies that actually sell little aluminum things, so you can just buy those online. Or you can just go to Ace Hardware, get yourself two M8 by 125 nuts, and then some oversized washers, cut a slit in them, and there you go. Tighten that all up and should be good to go. All right, guys, I am beyond excited right now. So you can see the hydro has pressure, brake pedal Down here has pressure, almost no movement, so that's manual brakes right there. And I mean, there's not really going to be pressure, you can't really tell, but yeah, the clutch is actually working. I did just test it out right now. I kept the brake pressed, and then I just put it like in first gear, and I put it in reverse. And with the clutch pedal pressed, I was just kind of letting go as if I'm about to start driving, and you can actually feel the clutch start to engage. So the pedal's actually working the way it should right now. I haven't driven it or anything, but I know it is working. From here, I need to get some more fuel in it. And another thing, for those of you guys who don't know, this stuff that you're seeing, this is a clear window. There's just a protection over both sides of it. So before I drive it, I am gonna take that off. I just have been getting a lot of people telling me that, like, why don't I get a clear one? But yeah, I mean, we have the windows, we have the hydro. I do need to get a shifter in here. I will be getting a shifter in soon. I think I'm gonna be doing like the Garagistic solid mount shifter. We have clutch, we have brakes, steering wheel, we have the seat. But yeah, the hood is on, the front end is together. And yeah, this thing has come a long way. So I'm super excited, I'm stoked. I will be test driving this thing really soon, so I don't think I'm done with this video here, because I do want to get some test driving in this video. So I'll get back with you guys if I have any updates, or if I actually take this thing out for a test drive. And I know a lot of you guys might get concerned with how much rust is on the brakes and stuff, but I'm here in Arizona in like the Phoenix area where it rains probably like 10 days out of the year. So all of this rust right here, it's honestly just surface rust. Nothing really has rusted through. Right here, you can kind of see this like the worst of it, but again, like you can just take like a wire brush and scrape all that stuff off. So yeah, I'm not really too worried about it. I'm just gonna spray some brake cleaner on it, and then once I have the wheel on, I'll just kind of turn it, spray brake cleaner all over, and then it should start taking off some of it, but a lot of it won't really come off until I actually kind of start driving it. But yeah, this is normal. This has happened before, and yeah, so don't get scared, don't be concerned. I'll go through and clean it in a little bit. All right, and look at that. All of that is a bunch of rust and brake fluid. So that's all a bunch of the rust that came off of the rotors already. And I already ran out of brake cleaner, but you can kind of see there's a little bit of silver coming off. I didn't do it as much to the rear, but over here in the front, I did do it quite a bit, and there is a little bit of a shine to it now. I'm gonna put it down on the ground, and from there, I just need to get some fuel in it, and I think I'm good to actually drive it. I need to test the brakes and the clutch, obviously, but yeah, with that, I think should be good. Alright, so there we go. The E36 moves under its own power. The brakes are working, the clutch is working, super good. So if you guys don't have any help with anybody to like pump the brakes or anything like that, hope that helps you guys out with an easy way to just bleed the brakes on your own. So yeah, so if that did help you guys out, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. It helps me out. And if you guys are looking forward to seeing the E36 driving a little bit more, that was just a little sneak peek. But yeah, if you guys are looking forward to seeing the E36 driving a little bit more, maybe testing out that hydro, hit that subscribe button and keep an eye out for that next video. See you guys then. Later.